Uh, 3 of these. Oops. Cover 3 of these right now. At least 3. We'll see. Looks like we crushed it. Crushed it today. Me like 2 minutes here. Okay. Oh, this is probably, yeah, getting blocked in. Obviously, like, contained. Hour-long game there. Man, I've not been coughing and then I started my stream. Maybe it's just talking. I haven't spoke yet today, actually. It's the first time I started talking. Okay, let's just take it from the top. Like we got a TVP, lost to a DT. Kickback. Actually, I haven't played Kickback yet myself. I played it 2 ladder games so far this season. I got Monty Hall both times. Oh no, that's not true. I played 4 games with you guys. Alrighty, let's see what we got here. Yeah, alright, just little things. Alright, little bitty things. I know I talk about it quite often. I don't think this is super important at this MMR, because this is like between 1600 and 1650, something like that. But this isn't super important, and it's probably even too nitpicky for this level. Like, this patch here is actually, I think, the worst patch, and this one's the second best, I believe. Yeah, something like that. Little things. Not super important, but little things. Like, this one's good, this one's good. This is like the last one you want to be on, though. But again, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Yeah, and this is another little thing. These are all little things that add up, right? We didn't start our depot to like 120-ish minerals. A little bit more. Which meant that we have a little bit of a supply block, which means our 12 SCV is going to be a little bit late. Just all little things that even, like, lead to your gas timing being a little bit slow. Again, like I'm saying, it's not that big of a deal with this MMR. I really don't think it matters too much. You're like 2 seconds late, 3 seconds late. It's really not that important. But just things to keep in mind maybe for the future. Factory time lines up with the gas timing just fine. Missing SCVs. Oh, we didn't start our second depot. A little bit of a mistake for sure. Actually, a really big mistake. Not a little bit of a mistake. That's a huge mistake. Yeah, I mean, we haven't produced SCVs in a while. Our opponent's doing the same, obviously, but like it's okay because our opponent's making the same mistake, but like you need to be looking to, you know, optimize your opening better and just have these like early big advantages. Because if you hit your opening correctly, you don't get that supply block. These like little things, you'd actually be up in workers right now, which obviously is a good thing. I mean, the opening's a little bit weird, so it's a little bit hard to optimize our opening more properly. Like, our bunker's really late, so we're just going to take a bunch of damage here. Yeah, I mean, all this is a result of kind of a poorly optimized opening. So I guess I'll go back and kind of break things down a little bit, because this did end up coming back to bite us, right? Like I said, the mining's a little bit late. We forgot our depot, which is gigantic. But the big thing is here we scout. We don't see the zealot. Okay. We see... Well, we probably didn't see range just started, but that's fine. We're checking to see if he goes early Nexus. It's all fine. We see the Dragoon come out. The Dragoon timing's pretty late. You go CC before Marine. We stopped SCVs, which, again, I'm not really a big fan of, but, like... We forgot our depot, so we started making SCVs. We didn't make our third Marine. Okay. Which is crazy. You need to have... If you're not going to bunker, if you're going to go 2 Marine, just go ahead and drop your bunker as well. But, I mean, everything's off because we... The supply block, and then we're going for, like, an 18cc, which just... This isn't a thing, like... 18cc is not a thing. We're just kind of, like, making it up now because of the messed up early game. So we see a Zealot. Okay, he shows us the Zealot, and we know he's got at least 1 Dragoon. We need to start our bunker. Like, now. Because you need this bunker done before Zealot and Goon shows up. We delayed our bunker for like a very long time. We actually started tank first. Yeah, I mean, it's just the opening's just really messed up, and we're gonna take a bunch of damage while we're getting DT rushes, is what I'm assuming is happening here. You see the Ford pylon, which I know is kind of weird, doesn't really mean anything yet, it's confusing. I mean, we did well to, like, keep this tank alive, right? Like, this was really good. We don't lose the tank. We got our CC up. It's just we're not making SCVs a lot of the time. Took some damage. Started our eBay, which is good. I mean, the eBay start is good. Obviously, this is really annoying. Okay, he feeds us a free Dragoon. We get to go kill this Dragoon. I mean, it's looking fine. Again, and I'm just going to be harping on this a lot. We've missed a lot of SCV rotations now. We're down 6 workers. We've got the extra command center, so we can make up for it as long as we keep pumping. He's starting a Citadel now, which, I mean, it looks to me like we're in really good shape right now. We're going to start our turret, right? We're going to push out. That's fine. We've killed so many goons, I actually don't hate it. Yeah, I mean, it was an option. Fine to go back. It was an option because we killed so many units to just make... To go 3 tank, keep making Marines, and then go, like, Vulture Mine behind it or something, but... I understand, like, not being confident right now, but see, our worker... So our worker count's back up. So at least we got back on top of that. You're in good shape now. He's gonna go DT drop. What it looks like. No, our lead could obviously be much, much bigger than what it is, but it's still fine. We're still ahead. It's still good. Armory coming. Yeah, I mean, one thing I'd say for sure is just focus definitely a little bit on RSTV production. Would improve our macro a lot. Definitely need another factory a while ago at this point. We've got plenty of money to drop one for a while. Academy coming down. Typically you would start that after your second factory, but fine. Again, second factory now. So like we're consistently floating while pumping units enough to be making more factories. So just add the extra factories, right? You've got the second gas as well, so you're about to be floating a lot of gas. We can go ahead and like just add more factories as you're getting the money for it while pumping units. Okay, that's good. We see the observer come in. We got turrets in place. I mean, right now we're covered for a DT drop. I even like the spread of units in case we get dropped. This looks good right now. What did we scan? We scanned his front, we scanned his expo. Okay. You definitely want to be finding what tech he's going for, or like what's going on. You did scan the gateway count, and we saw 2 gateways, which is already very weird. We're gonna push into that, that's fine. We're gonna have 2 scans in total for this push, basically. We're doing 5 factory pushing out after scanning 2 gateways. I don't hate it. We're bringing SCVs so we can build turrets. I mean, to me, this all makes sense so far. So I'm kind of curious how this goes wrong, because right now it looks fine. Our supply is good. We're gonna have a scan soon for this DT. Like, by the time the fight starts, we'll basically have enough, and then you'll have one more. He's got no more DTs on the way, so you should be able to get to his front and start building turrets. Like, to me, he looks dead on my screen. Oh, he's got 2 DTs. Okay. That's a little bit annoying. Okay, we scan and kill 1 DT. We have another scan now. Okay, we kill the next DT. He's going to start more DTs, yeah. So, we did need to, I will say, go ahead and start our starport. Like, this push is a good idea. We don't have enough scams to keep going, though, now. But killing the 2 DT is already fine. Our supply is great. We just needed to start a starport during this push, because we don't have enough scan banked up to get to his base, actually, for the turrets. I didn't realize he had 2 DT. That I kind of missed that. So let me back up a little bit on saying you were able to push to his front with the 2 DTs and him starting a lot more behind it. There's not really a way to push into this anymore, just because we don't have enough scans. So drop a starport, drop a command center. Right now you're in great shape. Obviously we cut workers, which wasn't really necessary. You can keep making workers. If you're gonna all in, I mean, I wouldn't really recommend yeah, don't ever like plan to like just all in, right? The game state was good for you, it was very good for you. Now we know he has DT, so it's okay to cut workers depending on what you're doing, but in this case, because we're floating enough money, just go ahead and keep making workers. Go ahead and keep progressing, right? We were pumping pretty well behind it. Obviously, we have a bunch of ultras back here. But we know he's got DTs. So I'm assuming we keep going. This is probably the mistake that we make. I assume we're going to keep going, and then we're going to get smashed by DTs because we don't have any detection. So you just need to recognize, hey, if he continues making DT, I can't do anything about it. Drop a starport, drop your command center. Keep making SCVs. Yeah, it looks like we're just going to keep pushing, and I imagine this is where we lose the game. Like, supply is so good for you right now. You can just, like, run around laying a bunch of... Like, it's fine. Like, just run around and lay a bunch of mines. We can't push because of the DT, right? But we backed them up. Just start filling the map with mines at this point. We've kind of almost got enough for 2 scans, but we did leave our SCVs behind. It may have still been possible, depending on like if he has poor DT control, but you shouldn't really count on that. Okay, DT down. We're gonna have one more scan soon. Yep. Yeah, I mean, this is just how we lose the game, right? We're pushing when we know that we have no way of seeing DT. We did have one more scan, but I mean, I don't know, it might have actually made a difference, but yeah, that's all it is. You pushed into DT. You knew he had DT. It's not like it caught you off guard at that point. You knew they were there. And now we're just losing all of our units into DT. And our massive lead is gone. And we're not starting a starport. Aren't we planning on just fighting it with scan the whole time? It's fine, I guess. Wouldn't really recommend it. And we just lost a ton of workers to storm drop. I mean, yeah, if you just backed up, got defensive, waited for a vessel, and push, it's fine. Good, even. You'd be on 3 base versus 3 base. That's a little bit sad. Let's see, we're scanning, we're seeing that he's still on 3 base. Clean this up, this is kind of like a little outpost of units. Yeah, I mean, we're just playing from behind now, but it's still, I don't know. I don't know if I'd call this playable. We're pretty far behind now. Like, base-wise, it's good for us, obviously, but we've lost so much that we didn't have to lose. Yeah, I mean, now we're down 50 supply, right? Our economy is not great. From here, it's hard. I mean, from here, yeah, you can, like, try to make it a game. You can try and, like, kind of push out and secure this area a little bit and try and take a 4th base here as well and, like, try and play the long game. This is still doable. You just have to play, like, a really slow long game at this point. And definitely, well, do we have a lot of mines? Yeah, not a whole lot of mines. I mean, this is kind of okay to go for. You need like mine coverage though, so you can see everything coming, so you can leave with this. It looks like we're just gonna commit this and lose all the units, so it's not good. It's like going for this harassment just to give him something to think about, laying mines between you and the army, so that when he's like starting to clear the mines here, you're like, okay, I need to leave and get your units out. So we're just gonna end up losing all this without killing the Nexus. And we're already behind on army a pretty good bit, so and I imagine like at this MMR, a lot of people probably have a very hard time with mines. Like, even though he has observers, I see him walking into mines constantly. We are kind of going for this play, so I mean, this is right. I don't hate it. It's just that we're so far behind. It's not gonna happen. Got a bunch of vultures up here. These 2 tanks that aren't gonna be a part of the fight. A bunch of units still in the rally. I mean, it would have been a hard hold anyway. You would need like a really strong minefield. We didn't make a vessel, we left at our starport. But I mean, at the end of the day, everything was totally fine. You just made this decision to push into DT that when you knew we had DT. I feel like that's really the biggest issue. Our opening also not great, right? I don't even think you need me to tell you a bunch. You know that you messed up the opener. Just this, we just forgot our second depot. We weren't making SCVs forever. Went for like an 18 CC or whatever we did. Yeah. And then we didn't make the bunker when we saw the goon coming, and yeah, just all kinds of little things that hurt us in the beginning. Could have had a huge lead, but instead we went into it with a slight lead, despite everything being kind of messed up. And then, it was still fine. Honestly, it was still fine. We just pushed into DTs. But didn't even catch us off guard. We knew they were there. I got a lot. I'm just gonna go until I'm tired of it, I guess. I'm gonna get this many right now. We just finished one. Yeah, I get people sending them to me in DMs through Discord. Alright, we'll check this TVZ next. Don't really have any information on this one, so we'll see what's going on here. Dante player. Okay. Interesting barracks choice. Not sure why, or placement. So when you are drone scouted, well, this is just kind of a general rule of thumb anyway. It's not gonna matter this game. I mean, it kind of matters because we're being drone scouted. So when you get drone scouted, you have to start a barracks. There's technically two. I've mentioned this before, actually. There's two cases where you start a barracks. When you scout and they didn't go 12 hatch, like if you scout and you find an empty natural, you start your depot. Because either this is the correct base. Basically, one of three things can happen. I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again because I think this is really important. When you scout a natural and there's nothing there, it means they didn't go 12 hatch. At least, they didn't go 12 hatch in this particular spawn. So they could be here with pool first. Okay? They could be somewhere else with pool first. They could be somewhere else going 12 hatch, but you don't know that. So you want to play safe. So you need to start your depot, your second depot, so you can continue SCV production and make Marines. The SCV that finishes the barracks needs to go scout the other direction, right? So this one will start scouting towards bottom right, and then your SCV that finished the barracks will go towards bottom left. And this will mean that you can see lings coming, if they go early lings. And the reason you do it, if you get drone scouted as well, even if you see 12 hatch, and you got drone scouted, you still want to make the depot because this is incredibly annoying to deal with. You want to be able to make a Marine to deal with it and continue SCVs the whole time. But here, we ended up cutting SCVs. We're going to make our Marine, and this is what's going to happen. We're going to get a supply block forever. So, once again, we have a massive supply block, so we're not making workers. Again, right? We can't make Marines, we can't make workers. He did end up going 12 hatch, but we still had to make the Marines, and we don't have the depot. So, yeah, we're just behind because of this. He did make the extractor and let it finish, which is good for us. in One Rack's Academy. I don't know if this is a thing. Maybe it is. I've never seen people do it. But yeah, I won't complain too much or like look too much into this early game. Other than what I've already pointed out, because like we're already pretty far behind what we should be at. But I'm pretty sure you're supposed to go second barracks, then gas academy. You went gas academy, then second barracks, so we're just gonna have like no production. Even if you wanted to 2 racks academy, we have no units. Also, have we scouted him yet? Yeah, we did scout him. Did we lose the SCV like right away, I guess? That's probably what happened. Okay, so we did at least send the next SCV, so that's good. But we didn't make the depot, so that sucks. Okay, so we didn't even lose the SCV, we just left. So we have no idea what he's doing. We basically just left this here to check for lings. I guess that's fine. It's okay. We are gonna scout the third, so that's good. But he's making a ton of lings in like a pretty late layer. Very late layer. We have no idea what's going on. So we're gonna lift and push out, and the guy's going mass lings, and we have no information whatsoever. Right? We haven't scouted him, we haven't checked anything, we had no vision on the map. We're just walking into the lings right now. Yeah. I mean, the game's just kind of over now, in theory. We'll see what happens from here, but the game should just be over now. You don't want to push out like that, obviously, when you don't know what's happening, because this is exactly what can happen. You can just walk straight into tons of Zerglings. We did no scouting with our SCV at all. We scouted his base once. We scouted his third. We never checked for lings. We didn't scan ahead. We just lifted and moved out and prayed to God that he wasn't going lings, and he was. So our entire bio count just got reset. And we lose SCVs, yeah. I mean, the game's over. The game's just over now. And he's mocking us. I mean, we're at 27 workers versus 40 workers. I don't even have advice at this point anymore. It's really not much for me to say. He can make sunkens. He has mutas on the way. Only 3 muta? I mean, unless we get some crazy damage here, which I don't think is gonna happen. We're gonna kill the third. Did only make 3 muta. Okay. We are at that rank, okay. Alright, so fine. We kill the third now. We needed to have started a factory. Our SCV production's been kind of halted over and over again. We got money right now, so I don't know. I mean, as bad as the early game was, we're allowed to kill his third base here. If we continued SCV production and continue teching, maybe this is playable. But the worker count is just, it's so hard. I don't know. It looks doomed. Yeah, we don't even kill the third. He just makes a ton of drones, man. God. I mean, yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say at this point. It's just once again the early game was just incorrect, right? We put ourselves in a bad position because we weren't scouting. We had no information on what he's doing. Our build was wrong, and we attacked blindly into a bunch of lings. Took a bunch of damage, right? Now we're just mega far behind. If you want to, like I said, if you're like depending on your opponent being bad, which in this case, like it is lower MMR, right? So it is possible to come back, and you're showing us it's possible to come back. We almost broke the third. So if you want to be able to come back after making a mistake like that, like I said, just continue worker production, right? Get your economy going, make sure we're still teching, continuing to mass, like just have clean basics, and you can still win these games, even after like a major mistake like you made. And you're showing us that, like you're showing me, and I mentioned before, your macro is actually pretty good, right? You have good macro, you're just making mistakes that are putting you in bad situations that you don't have to be in. And so most of these replay reviews is me just saying, hey, like, this is what your opener should be more like. This is what your scouting needs to be like. This is what your reactions need to be with your scouting. Like, you know, look at the last game, right? We attacked into DTs when we knew there were DTs. You had the information, you made a bad decision. Your macro was fantastic. You were way ahead. This game, yeah, we made a bad decision. We had no scouting information, and we just hoped that he wasn't making lings, and now you see, like, you need to fix that. Like, send an SCV ahead before you push out or something. Keep your SCV out of the map, keep your SCV in his base as long as you can. Like, we need to see if he's making lings or not. Scan his base and see what we're looking at, right? Like, recognize, wait, his lair is really late. Why is his lair late? And then, like, scout around with your SCVs and stuff before you push out blind. That being said, obviously we're still pretty far behind. You know, you can try and take a third base, which looks like that's what we're going to try and do. I found the way. Kind of need a second starport so it can start with mass vessel. Yeah, this will get denied. But we don't really need this base per se. You can take this one. Obviously, you don't want to be expanding towards the Zerg typically because of Defiler. This guy's not even going Defiler. We have a lot of energy on our scans right now, so. And you're lucky he's not doing hold position, because we're not scouting ahead, we're not scanning ahead or anything. We're just kind of running around blind. You can't do that. And at this point, another thing too, man, if you scanned his main, and you see he's not going Hive, make a second factory and start pumping tanks. Like, we know he's making lurkers. We see no Hive. If you scan, just start making tanks. The dude's going mass lurker. We're going pure bio into pure lair tech lurker. Vessels are still good, obviously. Like, you can do two factory vessel off of one starport. But you're not gonna beat this with mass bio only. I mean, to me, this game is entirely, we're playing with zero information. So you're not able to react to what he's doing because we don't know what he's doing. Like, imagine you have like a couple tanks up on the high ground. You don't have to send your bio in, right? He would have to unburrow and push into you over and over again with your tanks here, and you just would be stimming into him, whatever. Yeah, I mean, we saw Mass Lurker. Did we see Mass Lurker? I don't know that we did. We just kind of... I mean, there's no information. That's all it is. We played without information this game. There's not a whole lot more to be said here either. Your macro's good. Honestly, you have good macro. We're just... We're just not getting information. Do the shorter TVT. We got a really long one. We'll do that another day, probably. So this one, I think we get contained, and he's just not sure what to do after getting contained. And it's hard. I mean, in a lot of TVTs, when you get contained, the game's just over sometimes. Depends on the game state and what the situation was, but a lot of times just getting contained is GG. Okay. Well, our factory's late again, but it's still earlier than his. So you know what? I won't harp on it too much. So we're like 8 seconds late on our factory. He was 10 or 11. But you've heard me harp on that enough at this point. We've talked about it enough. And I don't think it's like the most important thing. This is like 1650, like I said, MMR. So I don't think it's the most important thing to like be crazy optimal. With our openings. Obviously, it would help a lot, but it's not super important. See, what are we going for here? We're floating. We got supply blocked again. Okay. That's kind of normal. So we're going multiple vultures, and we're not starting mines yet. We started armory. Are we gonna go mines? What's the plan here? Or we're just gonna go Goliath? Or we're going vulture speed. I don't know. I don't know what we're planning here. You never go vulture speed here. You don't go armory before your upgrade. The only reason you would go vulture speed is if you are playing vulture versus vulture. But if you're planning Goliath, just go mines anyway. But you should do that before you start your armory. Because your mine should be about done right now. If you immediately started mines, it would be about done. Might even be done. I'd have to check like standard timing, but I know our timings are a bit late. I'm trying not to, like I said, be too picky about the early game, like mining and stuff, gathering. Your timings are going to be a little bit slower, but it should be fine. We're just making, again, like weird decisions here. We have no way of stopping this contain. And this is like a weak attempt at a contain, I'm going to be honest with you. It's for almost 5.5 minutes. We have one tank, what, like 6 Marines? Yeah. And a Wraith. It's pretty weak. This shouldn't work. But we're gonna have a bunch of speed vultures. No, we're gonna cancel speed and go second add-on tank. Man, this is hard to break down. Okay, let me turn the AC off. It's kind of loud. Okay. So, there are several things we could have done different. Many things. Should have gone, if you're gonna make multiple vultures, if you're planning on going vulture, get mines. If you're planning on going Goliath, you don't even need the machine shop. If you're gonna go machine shop and get upgrades, it needs to be mines, not speed, unless you're doing vulture versus vulture, but we don't have that information. We never had that information. So what was the armory for? We ended up canceling this and going Goliath after we saw the Wraith. We're just like really all over the place. And the other thing is, if we were continuing worker production, you would have enough worker lead. Like, you're still at 3, which is good. And you've got the extra command center. There was like nothing here. It was a siege tank with 4 or 6 marines. You had, I think, 4 vulture, 5 vulture. Just pull your SCVs and kill it. Honestly, like, there's like nothing here. Let the vultures kill the marines. And then your SCVs and stuff will kill the tank. You weren't even, there was no threat here this entire time. You had enough to kill it the entire time. Unload your marines, send your SCVs, send your vultures, like, you could have just crushed this immediately. Just go. Just go kill it. You know? I mean, you've had enough to kill it this whole time if you bring your SCVs. Now the bunker's up. I mean, by the time we finally pulled, it was 3 tanks and the bunker was up. What did you have extra between then, right? You actually lost 2 vultures. You had a tank and a Goliath. You lost your marines. So by the time you tried to finally bust it, you had less than when he started, and he had almost twice as much. I mean, from here, it's still okay looking to me. I mean, you can bust it now. It's just, yeah, we can bust it now. His Wraither down here, we see his Wraither down here, you can go now. Pull your SCVs and go now, you know? There's been many occasions where we could have broke this contain. Because, like, so we saw 4 Wraith, okay? And we saw that he was just building his command center still. 4 Wraith is 4 less tanks. Like, that's a lot. And we see that on the other side of the map. That is a lot of resources that are not even going to be here at your front right now. Yeah, you gave way too much respect to what was at the front of your base. And it looks like you're going to try and go drops. I don't think drops will work since he's already got a bunch of Wraith. Yeah, you just way over-respected what was at the front of your base. And it's been getting worse and worse since the beginning. Like, you had a very big window, and now it's getting worse. Also, Goliath or not, it's not what you want to be making here if you need to bust this. You scanned it and saw it's only 5 tanks. We're on 6 tanks. 7 tanks, actually. And massing Goliath. Vultures are way better. They're way cheaper, and they do the same thing. You just want them to go in and tank the damage for your tanks to get set up. Obviously, you want some Goliath to kill the Wraith, but that's fine. But you don't want to keep, like, making Goliath. We should have had... We're floating a lot of money right now. We could have had a couple more factories a lot sooner. Especially if you're pumping Vulture. And you could, again, easily break this. Just, you would send Vultures in, obviously, first, and then have tanks. You got this high ground you can work with as well that would be able to shell these 2 tanks. Maybe even this one. It's kind of close, but these 2 for sure. You could, like, send Vultures in, siege a couple tanks here, move the rest of your tanks and Goliath in from the front. You would destroy this. This is a really weak contain, and you scanned it and saw that this is a weak contain. You gotta remember, if you're getting contained, some guy like one base contains you, and you got to get, and he didn't really damage you, right? Like, yeah, we lost some SCVs, because we went for like this kind of late bust attempt. You have to remember, that means you've been out macroing him the whole time, right? So he has to play catch up after he got this contain on you. So you've had this huge window of opportunity to break this for a very long time. I mean, I guess in your head there's way more here than what there is, but it's just 5 naked tanks, man. I mean, crap, you can just walk up with like 3 tanks up here and just kill this one for free. Yeah, like this. Then I can do it again, but it's only 4 tanks now. He's bringing in more because we're just waiting too long, but. Two more tanks go down. And a 3rd. Dude! You're doing fine, you're just over-respecting it, man. And you're, yeah. We're gonna drop on top of the contain, or we're gonna go for dropping his main. Okay, so we scanned this, and we ran away from it. We're gonna try and drop into Wraith and turrets when we can bust this. So, you wanted to know like how to play against contain? This specific contain at least. You've been able to break this for the last 10 minutes of the game. Ever since it got here. The only time that you couldn't actually break it, ironically, is the only time you tried because it was after the bunker went up. That was the worst possible time you could have gone. And then after you recovered from there, you've been able to break it since then. And you were able to break it before then. But we're going to go for this like Hail Mary drop play. You scan this, and you could have just sent your army and dropped on this to kill it. You see how small this is, like, how much army you have. And these are like, these are full. You got 1 dropship that's like, what, 1 slot empty? You have so much army here. And you scan this and you thought that was too scary. You're even 1-1. He has no upgrades. You're so far ahead, man. Yeah, he's got the better economy right now, but your army tempo is insane. So you always have, every game that I've watched, your macro is better than your opponent. Every single game. You're just reading the situation all wrong. We're going for the worst possible play. Okay, the Wraith aren't reacting at least. We'll see how much dropships we're gonna lose. 1 full dropship. And then, yeah, go into his army here. I mean, it's still okay. It's okay damage. It was even, like, probably good damage, but just breaking this is so much more important. Which you can still do right now, by the way. Okay, we scan it and see no Wraith. We're gonna bust it now. Okay. There we go. We finally did it. Now, after we did that, it is time to immediately secure another base. We have total map control right now. He's coming out with this like puny bit of army. He's got a bunch in his main. We've got better army positioning right now. What are our scans? We have 4 scans right now. We can start taking position and start securing some bases. And depending on how he fights us, we could even like push way up and contain him. We have mines. Yeah, we do have mines. Yeah. We could have gone out and put mines down immediately as well, so it looks like we're kind of doing that. But we basically stayed at our front until he got closer. A little bit slow pushing out, obviously. We didn't scan ahead, so we didn't know where his army was. Ended up kind of walking into his army, and we had a later siege than him. Even though we were further on the map than he was, he got better positioning. And like I said, we didn't see his army, so our siege timing was not great. Our vultures ran into his tanks and died for free. We just started this command center to take this base. I kind of like this one more in this situation because he's had map control for so long, but it's fine. Yeah, the problem is we're going to fall way too far behind on eco at this point. We had like a small potential tempo advantage, but at the end of the day, it just took us too long to break a contain that we've been able to break out of this whole game. You know, it's after we threw away a lot on the drop. But I won't say throw away, because it still did okay. But we didn't have to give them this position. And yeah, we're just gonna get recontained now. We're not sieged. They pushed into us, but I don't think it would matter at this point. He's on war base toward... Well... Actually, it would have mattered. If we get tanks here as well to defend the bridge. It would have mattered. It's crazy that this game still could have been okay. But it just comes back to what I keep saying. Your macro is fine. Your macro could easily get you into B rank, in my opinion. It's just our decision making is like our biggest issue. And that's a hard thing. Decision making is a hard thing to learn. It's the hardest thing to like learn and teach. Like I can look at it and point it out, and you can, and as I'm pointing it out, you can be like, oh yeah, well that's, like I feel stupid, that was obvious, now that you're saying it. But in the game, it's so hard to recognize. Yeah, I mean, game's over. Practice, practice, practice. Alright, let's check out one more TVP, and then that might be it for now. Starting to lose my voice already. You got that weak voice. PvP, and we don't know why we lost. But we are here to figure that out for you. Okay, 12 Nexus. 12 Nexus cross spawn. Life is tough, you know? And he's blindly doing the greedy version. That's crazy. Protoss players, right? Your factory's like 10 seconds late here. I mean, it's not okay, but... So he's got a 12 Nexus, but we didn't even go up to see what version he's doing. So we have no idea if this is a 2-gate version or not, or Forge or anything. I guess we can kind of assume it's not Forge since there's no pylon. We're just faking a bunker. Make him react. Well, it's not really worth losing the SCV. I mean, I don't know. It's okay. I get the idea. I just don't like that we didn't even check to see if it was 2-gate or not. You also don't ever need to go fast tank against 12 Nexus. If you've gone like standard factory opener, and this is again why it's important, like if you saw that it's 1-gate, not 2-gate, and then like gas core, we would see that there's no zealots. You can skip these mains forever, right? And we can go vulture and mines. And we just have map control until he gets a robotics. Like, you would have map control for a very long time here with how he did his opener. We don't need these ex-marines, and we definitely don't need a tank early. We went tank mines. Yeah, it's not the best opener, for sure. Pretty much the worst thing you could have done. Fine. It's okay. Defensive mines. We have no vision. So basically, he got to go the greedy 12 Nexus, and then you conceded map control. This is like a Protoss dream. But the thing is, you've been better about worker production. So even though we had such a big deficit in workers, we've at least called back up. We went factory armory, which is fine. Second factory eBay. Should be looking at a potential academy soon, just so we have any idea what's going on. But now we see Observer. Okay, so that's good. We know his Observer, we know his third Nexus isn't really that late. Behind this we're making our turrets. Make a turret. One of them. A turret here. One. Making tanks. Here's out. This is good. Okay, we've got good map vision right now, so that's good. The only thing that you're really missing is you also want mines in the like attack pass, right? So you like want mines here and like here and stuff, like around in here. So you can see when he's moving out. That's like the only thing that we're kind of missing, but our overall vision's fine, or it's good even. Decent. The right idea. This is our issue. We have so many wasted mines here that are doing nothing for us. These need to be out on the map. We need these mines to be spotter mines for us. We need to be blocking Expos and seeing his movement. We went defensive mines against a 12 Nexus. A 1 gate 12 Nexus. Yeah. 12 Nexus 1 gate. We made one turret in the spot where you can just go around it. I don't really know why we did this. Going too poorly right now. Herbmon. Thanks for the raid, man. From my replay analysis stream. Hope you had fun, dude. Let's see. Our third base. We could have started our third as well, like relatively early into what we played against. So we go 5 fact. 5 fact's always fine, right? It's a good standard build. Pretty much good against anything. We didn't take too much damage from the Reaver, so that's really good. Our supply looks fine. We're just cutting too many workers. Our academy, like I said, our comms stats are really late, so we don't know what we're against. And we've cut too many workers at this point. Last year, third CC could have been more workers. So we're starting to fall behind a little bit on the macro, but it's still not too bad because he's only on 3 base right now. And, like, you have good vision. We have not seen into his base once, and we're at the 10-minute mark. We have absolutely no clue what he's doing. This could easily be, like, carriers or something. We have no clue. All I know is that he's on 3 base around the, like, 7.5-minute mark. If we're pushing to, like, we're just finding a 5-fact push that's really ill-advised against the 12 Nexus. Okay, now the CC's coming down. We scan ahead and see nothing here. Again, I'd really like to have mines. If you're pushing up this way, I'd really like to have spotter mines here and stuff to like cover our flanks and cover his movement. And same thing, if you wanted to push here, then yeah, mines up here. But we're getting to get into position for free. This is great. Our supply is obviously not as high as we'd like it to be for this push, but when we get into pre-position, it's not so bad. The big thing is, if we scan his main, and you see this many gateways, and you know he's on 3 base, you never ever need to push in here. You just take your own third. He's on 3 base playing gateway man right now. Pushing into this is like one of the worst things you could do. Right? Like if we started our third CC a lot sooner, because you typically like want it on location around the 11-minute mark if it's like starting on location. So this is kind of late when it didn't have to be. And if you scan and see this, you leave. Like, okay, he's 3 base, he has 1 million gateways. That means he's not, his economy is not huge right now because his army is huge. He's got 4 shuttles and a ton of army. I feel like we're just going to get destroyed here. We're pushing just to push. We are getting free position, so it may end up going well. Even though it shouldn't have happened this way. I mean, we'll see. This is starting off really, really good for us. Get to clear up the shuttles, clear all the goons, get a bunch of stuff left behind. I mean, yeah, this is going good. This should never have happened, but the game looks over now. You push your tanks out to be shelling this Nexus. We drop our mines up here. We get our third on location. Making more factories is good. Starport obviously would be nice behind this as well, but I mean, I feel like we won the game already. Gonna be a lot of zealots coming, that's fine. We got a lot of vultures behind this. You're pumping pretty well. I mean, the game looks over. Yeah, the mine... mine positioning maybe less than ideal. Okay. We have a lot of unused mines, so... yeah, I guess this is like the only thing, and I was even kind of thinking about where your tanks could go. So after you won this fight, if you position your tanks more over here, like obviously you'd like to be on the high ground ideally, but you have this kind of like... the way we set our mines really, really hurt us here a lot. I can't believe how poorly that went. So we set our mines here, and then we moved on top of our mines. Like, you're moving towards your mines. Because you set your mines the way you did, I personally would have preferred putting them more out here. Like, move your tanks up, and then lay your mines out here. You kind of laid them here. It's fine if you wanted to do it, like, here-ish while your tanks were sieged. While we're waiting on our reinforcements and stuff as well. But I was even kind of thinking, like, even though it's low ground, just use, like, this ridge. Because the main thing is we just kill the Nexus and the game's over. So we laid mines and then moved our army on top of our mines. I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was, but it turned out pretty bad. And like our vultures weren't firing because we're like running from our own mines, so our vultures weren't even attacking. So all these zealots got to run up. Low zealots too, aren't they? No, they're not. Okay. All these zealots got to run up, and our vultures were running scared because we were afraid of blowing ourselves up instead. So even though you had the army to win this fight, you laid your mines in a way and moved your army on top of the mines in a way where we weren't even attacking with our units. And instead we literally self-destructed here. That being said, you're still in a good position. Like, don't get me wrong, we lost this second part of the fight. Okay, we're starting to bleed off units completely for free here. Our third could have landed a little bit ago, it's fine. Our port's starting now, so like our tech and stuff behind this, our economy and stuff behind this is not great. We definitely cut workers as well while taking a third, which is not great. Still though, very playable position. It's okay. I feel like that could have been game winning, but it's okay. We still have not once. We have no idea. We're at 13 minutes now. Pure darkness in the top right corner. I don't know how you can be comfortable with this. It's crazy to me. But you should be curious. Okay, we don't need to bleed off a bunch of units. I really am curious, like, what you're feeling at this moment in the game, because you should be feeling good. Honestly, like, if he's on 3 base and you're taking your third, you should be feeling pretty good. You killed a lot of army. I mean, I guess our upgrades and stuff are pretty late. Our follow-up is slow, but okay. He's barely mining from the space right now. We're up to 15 workers versus 60. So 51 versus 60, I'm starting to sound like Joe Biden. But, yeah, it's fine. We're not in danger here. We still have vision enough to see that he's only on 3 base still. We still don't have the spotter mines, so we don't know. We didn't know that he's coming. Our siege setup is okay. Not great, but it's okay. A little bit light on the mines on the side as well. Not really producing much right now, but okay. I mean, this isn't great, but It'd still be fine. These tanks are like way out of line. Sorry, hang on a second. That's well, the cat just died, apparently. That sucks. That'll kill your momentum. Hmm. I guess she got hit by a car. What it seems like. She got hit by a car and then crawled a bit before dying is what it seems like happened. Well, yes. Sorry, it was like a drop in the mood. Alright, let's finish this one up and then I'm gonna head out. But I mean, this looks kind of over now. We're losing too many tanks. I don't know. It's still actually kind of okay. I mean, you lost a lot. Our tank reset like really sucks, but we're floating enough gas. We should add another add-on. B mass probe? Guess so. But yeah, I would add another add-on. I mean, we're not mining from our main base. We have all of our workers here. Seems like we're just kind of not sure what to do at this point. Supply is surprisingly okay. Man, yeah, it's kind of brutal. What are we doing? I mean, we look... Is the replay broken? I think the replay's broken. I think that's what happened. Yeah, I think our replay's broken right now. But I think we covered up to what matters anyway. The replay's broken at this point, that's all it is. But everything leading up to that point before it broke, we kind of, I think, covered like the biggest issues. How many replays are in queue? Technically it's like 3 or 4 more. I think it's 3 more. But I'm not doing them in any particular order. I've done a lot of the same person, so I just go back and forth depending on how many is being submitted by different people. But yeah, for this game, I think it mostly just, it comes down to our early game reaction to 12 Nexus wasn't right, but we kind of covered a lot of that. And then our push was really good because he let us get in position. I would have never recommended this push because of we saw this on 3 base. But, like I said, you got into a good position undetected. We took a really good fight initially, and then kind of a bad follow-up fight because of our mines. Alright, good. So just so you know, I won't be doing any more after this. I'm going to be taking a bit of a break after this one, and then I'll try and maybe do some more tomorrow. But even after this situation, it's fine. We just need to be a little bit faster, like getting on our third base, getting money, getting our starport going, getting set up a little bit better defensively, that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you were here just a few minutes ago, but I just found out that my cat just got hit by a car. So I was gonna head out after this one. It's one of the Siamese twins. Very sad to me. But yeah, that pretty much does it for this replay. But I'm gonna head out. Yeah, it's fine. No problem. Happens. I mean, I live on a farm. I deal with, like, animal death all the time. Doesn't mean it doesn't suck, though. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll be back later. We'll be in better spirits. Sorry to... Yeah. Yeah. Here you chiseled. Alright, guys. I will catch you all later. Bye.